I'm in? Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're just going to ask that you take your seats. There's plenty of seating over here if anyone is looking for some. Oh, you guys are an obedient crowd. I love it. Good evening, everybody. My name is Trisha Rogers. I'm the president and CEO of the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm honored to be here to moderate tonight's State of the City event. For many years, the ARCC has supported the work of the City of Glens Falls in developing a strong and growing business community that provides jobs, services, and supports the city's quality of life. There is something really special about the City of Glens Falls, and we are proud to collaborate with and serve the businesses and residents in this city. As many of you know, Warren County Planning Department is in the process of developing a comprehensive plan, Warren County 2040. One key finding that I thought worth mentioning, 81% of people who filled out the survey rate quality of life in Warren County as good or very good. The reason cited as a top reason for improved quality of life is Glens Falls. We have so much to celebrate. The city is asking attendees to please join in a celebration of all the good news that we hear tonight with hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and discussions with city staff and other business leaders about the state of our city. It's now my pleasure to introduce the mayor of Glens Falls, Mr. Bill Collins.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. It's so great. I was wondering who might have to join me to eat all the hors d'oeuvres alone. Glad to see that hopefully you stick around and help me. Before I begin, I need to offer a quick note of thanks to the Queensberry Hotel, to Ed and Zach Moore and Tyler Herrick. Thank you so much for your investment, your continued investment in our city, and all your support to me and my office as well. I also want to thank the Chamber and Tricia. I've known Tricia a long time, and I'm so grateful that she didn't welcome me as Billy Collins, right? I can tell how long people have known me by it. It's been an honor to serve as your mayor for the last 2 years. I'd like to discuss with you the subject, my favorite subject, Glens Falls. I've done a lot of important work in 2023, building off of our success in 2022. And while there's still a lot more on our agenda and in my vision, I'd like to review with you the city's good work for the year. While it seems like forever ago, it was just last winter and early spring that the city was still feeling the strong effects of COVID. Fast forward a year, and it seems as though the city and the state have weathered the worst of the most difficult times. The city continues to move forward on our commitment to make things better, and of course, our disagreements on how we move forward. But there are never disagreements on the fact that we need to keep our city moving forward. And this is just one example of what I call the Glens Falls difference. The city continues to cooperate and collaborate with local and regional businesses, our not-for-profit service providers, and our faith-based organizations to advance the health and safety and prosperity. The hard work over the last 2 years protecting the health and economic resiliency of the city we've experienced strong resurgence in economic activity, and we have solid increases in sales tax revenue to prove it. A little history here, that during 2022 with Mayor Hall, when the COVID pandemic hit us and many of our businesses were closed for extended periods of time, the city braced for a 20% drop in sales tax revenue. The real drop was much less than 0.2%. I believe that the fact that sales tax revenue basically stayed the same in 2020 shows the resiliency and the depth of our city businesses, even during the scariest of times. In 2021, the city's sales tax revenue was up 16%, and I was sure it was just a COVID rebound. But in 2022, the city's sales tax revenue was up another 11%. And in 2023, the city sales tax revenue is up another 9.6%. It's clear to me, as it should be to anyone, that our economic activity continues to be strong. Additionally, the city continued to see strong home sale numbers, and in 2023, the sale prices continue to be 6% higher than the newly assessed property values. If you think about that, it proves that our assessment process was valid. Because the sale prices of homes in the city continues to be higher than their newly assessed values. Of course, national and economic conditions have a demonstrated impact. In an effort to stem inflation, the Federal Reserve has increased the interest rates full 5% between March of 2020 and July of 2023. March of 2022 and July of 2023. The combination of inflation and the rate increases have made everything more expensive. And while the city has no influence over our national economics, those changes do affect our local economic engines. The federal government reports that inflation is slowing, and I'll let them deal with that. But no matter what the national economy is doing, the city must continue to be prepared for the next economic downturn. I'm here to report that the city's finances are strong. Our expenses are controlled. Our spending is conservative. We're projecting that the city will come in well under budget again in 2023, which will be the 10th straight year of coming in under budget. A few of you may remember that as part of the 23 city budget, the Common Council assigned, really reserved, $1.6 million of the city's fund balance. Let me slow down a sec. I'm still shaking, I'm sorry. We reserved $1.6 million of the city's fund balance to balance the city's projected expenses. I'm pleased to report that not only are we not using any of that $1.6 million reserved last year, but the Common Council was able to purchase a needed fire truck for $820,000 at the end of this year, at the end of last year. When the books are closed this March, we expect to be able to add another $600,000 to the fund balance or earmark that $600,000 for other needed capital expenses. One of the primary drivers of the budget savings in 2023 came from vacant budgeted positions. And while the city must always budget for full employment and must ensure that these costs are covered by revenue, we spent much of the year with more than 20 vacant positions. The bulk of those vacancies were found in our police and fire departments, reflecting the national employment issues for these professionals. I'm happy to report that we have filled 6 vacancies in the city's police ranks and 5 vacancies in our fire department. Additionally, in 2023, the city has had 5 department heads retire and 2 more move on to other opportunities. Fortunately, our city has a strong team of employees who care for the city and diligently serve our citizens. Many of the department heads are here today, and I'd like them to stand, and employees also. Please stand and be recognized for your work. Please. Come on. Stand up. Thank you. Thank you. They are serving the city every day, and they often find themselves in thankless situations. So I want to publicly say to them, thank you. Thanks for all your hard work and your dedication. I'd also like to take note, I'd like all of you to note, that these department heads, by standing and being recognized, that you hereby agree that you will not leave or retire for at least 2 more years. You all heard it here. Our city's strengths go beyond our employees and beyond the underlying economic conditions and go straight into the community itself. There are dozens of community organizations, large and small, that organize and implement locally driven community events every year, bringing tens of thousands of people from all walks of life, whether celebrating local arts and foods, marking historic events and people, or raising awareness of social issues. These events are the economic drivers, but they're also, more importantly, there's a social glue that keep us, hometown USA. Taken together, these facts show that the state of our city is strong and growing. Recognizing strengths also means that we need to have to recognize potential concerns. When I first took office, I was presented with one undeniable concern that turned into a sterling example of cooperation and consolidation of services. That's the merger of the Greater Glens Falls Transit and the Capital District Transportation Authority. City of Glens Falls created a transit system in the 1980s that for years operated primarily in Warren and Washington County, as well as the town of Moreau, providing essential transportation services and connections between 11 communities. But in recent years, especially since the start of COVID, the city had great difficulty ensuring the quality and consistency of service. Put simply, the city's transit service lacked the size, technology, and resources to grow and meet the expanding need that only a full-size transportation authority could provide. During a series of staffing difficulties over the last couple years, CDTA assisted us, and together we developed a working relationship in support of Greater Glens Falls transit operations. Those initial discussions were so successful that the conversation about collaborating continued, and they eventually turned to deeper discussions about the potential benefits of the CDTA could bring to Glens Falls and Warren County. Together, CDTA and the city developed a plan for a merger of our two systems. The city worked with members of the Warren County Board of Supervisors to review the merits and the opportunities of the proposed merger, something that the city and CDTA had been working on for more than a year. I believe that it became the most significant consolidation of services that the city has performed in my lifetime. The city and Warren County will now have a stable transportation future because we were not afraid to let go. We were not afraid to change, not afraid to work together with the Warren County Board of Supervisors on a project that was so beneficial to all of us. I want to recognize the new Warren County Administrator, John Taflin. I know he was here. John? I also want to recognize the County Board of Supervisors Chair, Kevin Garrity. If they had not kept an open mind, had not been willing to listen and collaborate, or had not been willing to take this risk with the city, our city transit system would have been in danger and would not have been able to provide connections to the Capital District in a real and meaningful way. So I thank them and the entire Board of Supervisors, many of who are here, for their openness, collaboration, and hard work to make this merger happen. On the first day of this new year, CDTA officially took over running our routes, and the city and the county look forward to working with them as they provide stability and assess connections for service and growth into our future. Speaking of service, law enforcement has had a busy year here in Glens Falls. I'm sure most of you know that our city police addressed a wave of youth issues this summer and fall, and I'd like to acknowledge a few things. I'm sure that that there are more young people and young families who are struggling in our city, and that number appears to be growing. Secondly, the bold and blatant disrespectful criminal actions of these kids was alarming. And finally, our local, professional, hometown police force did an excellent work to close the cases where recent changes in laws made that much more difficult. Our city police followed procedures set down by New York State with reference to dealing with juvenile cases and stayed focused on ensuring that those who did the criminal acts were arrested and brought to court. Because this is Glens Falls, our city police officers already were familiar with many of these kids, and that is another example of what I call the Glens Falls difference. As a result of their investigative follow-up, the city police arrested 16 juveniles this summer on an array of misdemeanor and felony charges, all of which have been dealt with in family court as the law requires. Police spoke with all the guardians and the parents about these juveniles and arrested 5 of those adults in relations to these cases. Let's remember that behind nearly every crime committed, that there is a young person and perhaps a young family that is failing for a wide range of reasons. Darlene Hafner, and the city's newly hired full-time social worker, has had a hand in working with these families on these cases. Darlene was hired by the City Police Department in early March to provide social work crisis intervention services to assist the officers, the victims, the families, all in crisis within the city. The importance of this position cannot be overstated. We're pleased that Darlene has joined us and appreciate how much her work is already making an impact. Let's not forget that the city continues to have a full-time school resource officer in John Norton, who works in the Glens Falls City School District and supports these students and the administration as well. And on a final note, together, our Personnel Committee and I proposed a significant raise for our police officers to make their pay more competitive with their Warren County counterparts and elsewhere. I'm grateful to the Common Council that approved this in the 2024 budget. I'd like to, thank you. I'd like to thank those council members and their committee for their vision and their investment in our police department. Councilman Landry, Councilwoman Palmer, and Councilwoman Gooden, thank you for your belief in this department. Is now a good time to mention that in 2023, the city of Glens Falls was again voted to be the safest area in the country? Regarding law enforcement counterparts, I also want to take a moment and thank Warren County Sheriff Jim LaFar and his staff, who met with myself and City Police Chief Jared Smith multiple times in 2023. We know that enforcement issues do not respect city boundaries, and the city appreciates the Sheriff's Department, the state police, who are always available to help when needed. It's another example of collaboration that we will work to continue. On the subject of collaboration, let's move on to the city's downtown revitalization projects that are finally coming to pass. As you may remember, the city was awarded a $10 million grant from New York State, and it's really a series of grants to revitalize the city's last downtrodden corridor, South Street, the Street of Dreams. The DRI plan, originally crafted by the late, great Ed Bartholomew and former Mayor Jack Diamond in 2016, came into its own in 2023. On the long list of DRI projects proposed, two are finished, and one is nearly so. SUNY Adirondack Culinary School is celebrating its 6th year at 14 Hudson this March, and we thank SUNY Adirondack President Christine Duffy for her willingness to locate this important program in our downtown and for her continued partnership in a number of areas with the city. Let's not forget about the Arts District, including the murals and the bike racks, sidewalk stamps, and other projects that were completed this fall. Don't you just love the murals? Yeah. This spring, we expect to close our Downtown Business Support Grant with a project at the Wood Theater and another at the Park Theater. That's a total of $1.4 million DRI dollars already invested in just those three programs. The long-delayed capstone project of the city's DRI, the $5 million Event and Market Center on South Street, broke ground in late 2023. And has it been a long time coming? Oh, let me say that again. Huh? The construction work continues, and we expect the facility to be completed and open and operating this fall. We're developing plans for the full use of the Event and Market Center while also providing space for the Glens Falls Farmers Market to operate. We want to thank the Farmers Market Association and reassure them that that we value their contributions to our city, and that we hope they will use the space, will do everything feasible to ensure that the facility meets their needs. I've met with Governor Kathy Hochul this year, and Mike Yavoli from Empire State Development, and Leslie Zlata from the Department of State, and they are all supportive of the city's efforts to leverage New York's $10 million investment, along with the $30 million in private investment for the revitalization of our South Street. We fully expect to hear the final approval of tax credits needed for the project this March. The city expects that the work will be underway on the remaining major renovations and construction projects by this fall. That includes the former Sandy's, Hot Shots, the so-called Incubator Building, new commercial and residential buildings along South and Elm Streets. Also, let's not forget our streetscaping work that began in 2023. It's a DRI project that gets a lot less attention, but it's critical nevertheless. It's critical because of the work that includes the separation of stormwater lines and sanitary sewer lines under the streets as the road and sidewalks are improved and worked on. We're planning to spend $1.5 million on a grant on the top part of the street, and we need to be efficient and proactive, and we must update and separate the storm and sewer water under the street before we do it. It doesn't get talked about often, but the city has spent $30 million over the last 15 years, to separate the clean storm water from city streets out of our sanitary sewer system. And speaking of our streets, the city continued to invest in road paving and sidewalk repair during 2023, much like we did in 2022. The city spent more than $770,000 in 2023 to repave 26 city streets. Several streets in each ward were repaved. In 2022, the city paved 23 streets at a cost of more than $500,000. And that total was double the number that the city had been able to pave in previous years. All of that work was funded by New York State, federal highway programs. The city also invested $2 million on sidewalks and curbing from the fall of 2022 to the end of 2023, installing approximately 70,000 square feet of sidewalks and ramps. That's 3.4 miles. We also installed 9,500 linear feet of new curbing. That's about 1.8 miles. I want to thank both the state and federal governments for their continued funding to support these programs. All of that $2 million came from those sources, not your property taxes. Should I repeat that? Yeah. Just wait a few minutes, I'm going to repeat that. Additionally, what began in 2022 and continued in 2023 was using the American Rescue Plan Act funding to pay for large capital expenses that we may not otherwise have been able to afford. On the city's $12 million ARPA share, roughly $5 million has been used on projects like updates to our water and sewer infrastructure as part of the Dix Avenue reconstruction project. What do you think about that, Mrs. Ponda? Huh? Thank you. A complete water replacement of the sand water filters at our treatment at our water tanks. A UV water disinfectant system. Repairing and recoating the inside of our water storage tanks, the complete redesign of a needed electrical upgrade that's only was as old as the 1980s at our water treatment plant, and a water sewer manhole inspection camera system. The city's also made significant investment in technology upgrades, like a new timekeeping system from the 1950s with the outdated punch cards. A new, more efficient mailing system to save the money. You think I'm joking, but I am absolutely not. If you know of a museum who could use an old punch card system, let me know. A new, more efficient mailing system to save the city money and time. A new community-based communication system called See-Click-Fix, which allows the citizens to report multiple types of concerns directly to city staff. And those staff will be able to post the work that has been completed in real time. I'd like to thank the members of the mayor's, and one more, it's huge. Several new security cameras at our parks and facilities throughout the city. We'd like to thank the members of the Mayor's Technology Committee for driving these proposals. Councilman Lapham, Councilwoman Palmer, and Councilman Donahue, thank you. Thank you. The city allocated $1.3 million of ARPA funding to upgrade our courts at our city parks, including almost all the basketball courts, transforming several tennis courts into pickleball courts. I don't know what pickleball is all about, but we did it anyway. And adding one flex court. This work has happened at Eastfield, Montcalm Street, Sagamore Street, and Murray Street playgrounds. And our investment in recreation signifies a renewed interest in upgrading our facilities. I want to thank the Recreation Commission and the Mayor's Recreation Committee for all their work. Councilwoman Palmer, Councilman at Large Clark, and Councilman Landry, thank you for your investments. Another project completed in 2023 was the Downtown Connector project, which upgraded the sidewalks and added bike lanes from Hudson Avenue all the way down Murray Street Hill to Pines Island. It included 2 walking bridges over the feeder canal at Murray Street and Water Street, which connects Pines Island, Haviland's Cove, and our 5th Ward neighborhoods. It was the first step of the city's local waterfront revitalization plan, envisioned and developed again by Ed Bartholomew and Jack Diamond. Finally, in 2023, the city was awarded both large and small grants to help us move forward. We were successful in asking New York's Department of State to designate a corridor on the west side of the city as a brownfield opportunity area. The brownfield in this program isn't an environmental designation, but an economic one. The designation allows the city and property owners to receive grants to redevelop parcels or entire areas within a parcel from this, in the city. Specifically, the corridor includes South Street and Broad Street from the Civil War Monument all the way down to the end of the city line. This is a great opportunity to continue to revitalize and revigorate properties in this area. We were also successful in asking for the Department of State to provide a grant to help a similar BOA plan in the city's East End. This will cover most of the old First Ward. We know that identifying, developing, and reimagining underused parcels in the East End shouldn't be difficult at all. And if that wasn't enough, the Department of State also awarded the city a grant to develop a comprehensive plan that the city will use to lay out a vision for the next 20 years. The process, like the BOAs, is a multi-year, multi-step process that begins with the creation of a planning committee by city residents. So don't be surprised if some of you get a phone call from myself or other council members asking you to help. We also renewed interest in our tree commission, as the city's been awarded a $400,000 grant from the federal government to enact recommendations from the city's 2021 tree inventory and maintenance plan. The grant, which is to be spent over 5 years, will be combined with the money budgeted by the city to maintain our current urban tree canopy and add to it as well. The city also was awarded $510,000 from the state's Homes and Community Renewal Agency to perform home rehabilitation and upgrades for low and moderate income single-family homeowners. This is a game changer for those families. We are seeking qualified applicants who need repair to their homes. We're also seeking local licensed contractors to do the work. The city and Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District also received a $30,000 grant to address the water runoff issues in the 3rd Ward. Thanks to District Manager Jim Lieberman for helping the city deal with this long-term problem. All of this work, all of these accomplishments were done to ensure that the city's growth and prosperity continues. Glens Falls is in its stride, and it takes an entire community to keep that moving. Glens Falls is strong, it's resilient, it's adaptable, but it's not an island, and it can't go it alone. The city on all levels has started or restarted investing in significant relationships and partnerships that may not have been attended to for a while. I'm committed to this path of cooperation. So with all that as a prologue, let's turn to 2024, where we'll focus on collaboration and partnerships. Give me 1 second here. I'm not just looking for applause. I really. Oh. This is harder than it looks. Maybe it looks really hard too. I don't know. First and foremost, I'm proud to continue the great work we have with the Glens Falls Common Council. I appreciate the relationships we've developed, both at the council meetings and in our twice-monthly individual meetings. The city is better off because of our direct and honest discussions. Politics does not intrude, and it shouldn't, because the water lines are not Democratic and the sewer lines are not Republican. There is nothing, thank you. There is nothing conservative or liberal in ensuring that your streets get cleaned and paved. and ensuring that the fire and police department respond immediately when called. I'm happy to leave the politics to others. In developing long-term plans, we know the city is currently strong because of all the work done in previous years. The new planning projects, the smart growth plan, the brownfield opportunity areas, increasing housing options will set up the future growth for the next year and the next generation of residents and businesses and visitors. As a quick note, until we update the city code as part of this process, it's still illegal to tie your cows up to the city sidewalks. You think I'm joking, and I am not. Yeah, there's just a little need for updating the city code. Whew. We're continuing to upgrade our parks and our recreational facilities, including fields, new amenities, and bathrooms. It's needed. The money's been allocated. Keep your eye out for our new dog park and new field house at Murray Street Playground. What do you think, Mary Gooden, huh? My plan is to hire a contractor to take advantage of the national billion-dollar market of youth sports tourism. This youth tournament director will develop events to take advantage of our community's recreational assets, beginning with ice hockey, basketball, softball, baseball, and lacrosse. We're expecting by the end of 2025 to have between 4 and 6 annual tournaments that will provide funding, support, and hopefully expand, our already current recreational opportunities. Also in 2024, we continue our waterfront revitalization. We'll be constructing the Pines Island Walking Trail, providing a riverside walking path from Murray Street Bridge to Haviland's Cove. The plans provide renewed access to long-forgotten beauty of our Hudson River waterfront and to our neglected Haviland's Cove. This summer, I had a very special visit from Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie and our State Assembly member, Carrie Warner. And after an hour of some very awkward line dancing at the Glens Falls Senior Center, please, let's not, we don't have any photos of that, do we? I'm telling you. Yeah, no, all right. It was tough. So, after some very awkward line dancing at the Glens Falls Senior Center, Speaker Hastie and Assembly Member Warner committed $620,000 grant for upgrades to the Glens Falls Senior Center, as well as $2 million for the cleanup and redevelopment of our Haviland's Cove. Thank you, Assemblywoman Carrie Warner and Assembly Speaker Hastie. Also in 2024, you'll see the completion of the Coles Woods Connector Trail. Our own tourism director, Amy Collins, has been working with the Friends of Coles Woods to design and build a walking trail in Coles Woods alongside but separate from the world-class cross-country ski trails. The connector will link the YMCA and our rec center with Dixon Road and potentially other trails in Queensbury. We're working with the Water and Sewer Commission, the Recreation Commission, and the town of Queensbury on some of those ideas. I think our state senator Dan Steck is here, and he could tell you how long these ideas have been kicking around. It's a long time, and we're so happy that they're coming forward. We plan to pave 15 to 20 more streets in 2024 and spend another $1 million to repair sidewalks. And as I noted earlier, funding for that will come from state, federal, and CBG funding, not your property taxes. We'll also replace 3 traffic signals with updated technology and enhanced pedestrian crossing signals. There is a building in the city of Glens Falls. I can't tell you where it is. I'd have to kill you. But it has all these old traffic lights that we basically cut apart and use to fix any broken traffic lights. These will be new traffic lights, huh? Technology, huh? We're going to get out of the 1950s again and get right into 2020. I'm planning to reconstitute and expand the mayor's special project committee to develop proposals on everyone's favorite subject, parking. Yeah, don't laugh so hard, will you? It's hard on me. The committee will get public input, as well as input from local businesses and stakeholders, to ensure that any proposal brought to the Common Council for votes takes into account all points of view, including residents, shoppers, employers, employees, and diners. We know it's a sensitive subject. It's one of the reasons why so many studies have been left on shelves in my office. We currently have an amalgamation of unrelated reactions that make up our parking code, which when taken together make no real sense to anyone. Why is there a 10-minute limit on one spot and a 3-hour limit just down the street? Our current parking situation, with all our activity, all our growth, needs to be updated and renewed. We must address this most difficult topic. Don't worry, I'm expecting the conversations will all go smoothly. What could possibly go wrong in talking about parking? I must be crazy. I will continue building relationships with the Downtown Collaborative, the Business Improvement District, LARAC, the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Civic Center Coalition, the Arts District, and many other community groups to ensure we support the efforts to increase residents, businesses, and events. All of that movement creates and expands economic and tourism activity and helps Glens Falls to become one of the best places to live, to continue to be one of the best places to live. Many of you have already heard my vision to grow special lifestyle events in the city, to support the kinds of fun community-wide events that drive sales tax growth and economic development to secure the city's future. After hearing initial comments from a few concerned residents, let me assure you of a few things. First, the city recognizes the importance of these events to drive economic activity, to support the character and the attractiveness of our city. Second, many of these events have unlimited potential for growth, and we must help grow them, or at least some of them, to be a transformative events for our community. Third, the city will not be taking over or running any of these events. We don't need to grow government, okay? But we do need to seek and cooperate and collaborate with the event organizers and encourage them in their growth and support. We're proud that the Cool Insuring Arena is the host to the biggest regular event in our city. Let's just for a moment single out the Adirondack Thunder, shall we? Absolutely. Owned locally by the Civic Center Coalition, the team not only provides great hockey in a city that adores the game, but also each game is more like its own extraordinary event. Congratulations to them on their current spot in the standings. I think they're 11 last winning streak. Hopefully that winning streak will be 15 by the end of the weekend, right? We're proud of the city's ability to support renovating Heritage Hall into a modern event space with our $200,000 donation from ARPA funding. What a great job the coalition did. Additionally, the city provided a $40,000 grant to renovate and install locker rooms for the Adirondack Junior Thunder, a developmental team that won its division last year, and I'm hoping the lockers helped. So. I expect to work more closely with the Civic Center Coalition to support their efforts and bring in events and drive economic growth tied to sports, music, and the arts. I will be working with Queensbury's Supervisor John Strow and town officials to carefully and protectively develop our lower watershed trails. We're also beginning to work with John, the Greater Glens Falls Local Development Corporation, the Warren County EDC, and the town of Queensbury with hopes to rezone and then redevelop the city's Tech Meadows Business Park. My plan is, following informal discussions of 2023, is to set regular meetings with a variety of business and local stakeholders. It's my goal to share these updates on developing ideas and initiatives to gain better perspective from all sides. I don't expect that we'll agree on everything, but the mutual respect built on these frank exchanges will help make our progress better and more well-rounded. Before I wrap up, I want to thank the Chamber again and the Queensbury Hotel, and I think we have a few questions from Tricia.
Yeah. Well, they're not from me. They're from the group that we gathered. I'm going to step back here. Are you ready for it, Mayor?
Sure.
All right.
Wait,
okay.
let me take another drink here. This could be tough.
Okay, we're going to start with the farmers market, okay? Do you have any updates on your discussions with the farmers market and the new event market center?
Well, we met with the farmers market organizers. I think it was an executive committee back in, I think it was November. It may have been late November, early December. And there were a great conversation. There's still some hard feelings that they didn't have more involvement in developing the plans for the building. But remember, 2 years ago, when the first budget of the plan came, it was $3 million over budget. And the state wasn't about to give us $13 million. So we had to reorganize the space. But I brought them into the room, an entire large diagram, and gave it to them and said, tell me how you want to use the facility. You got 6,000 roughly square feet in the middle and another 5,000 outside. You use it any way you'd like within reason. Right? We know some certain things that they can't pull up and park inside the building, but we want this to be their home. We believe in the farmers market and the value. I tell everybody, look, if the farmer's market goes somewhere else, I'm going to have to eat somewhere else. My wife has been a vegetarian and a vegan for more than 40 years, and my kids were raised vegetarian. She goes every week. I'm hoping that they will find this space amenable. We will try our best. We will certainly have it warmed up so they can use it all year round.
Great, thank you. Another topic you mentioned, special events. When you say special events, how do you see the city's role in these special events?
Well, I'd like to now, so can I say something between just us and the room? Is that, you won't hold me to it, right? Look, I believe that the city, that the Business Improvement District, the Collaborative, maybe even the Civic Center Coalition, I haven't spoken to the leaders about any of this, but I think they and the city together should hire an event director, because every one of them is working full-time at other things. And so I believe that we should hire an event director to look at growing every event if the organizers wish it. I've spoken once to the head of LARAC, a great gentleman, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name right now. Phil. Sorry, Phil. I apologize. And I said, don't you think that LARAC could be much bigger? And he seemed like, well, I think we're doing a great job, and I do too. I love LARAC. It's one of the best events downtown. But I'd like to turn LARAC, if possible, or at least add to it, an entire weekend of art in Glens Falls. I'd like to find a way to turn the entire weekend and build upon the success of LARAC. I'd like to do the same with Kiwanis. They're looking at hopefully bringing back Taste of the North Country, another hugely successful event. Isn't that great? I'd like, if we had this four-legged stool of the Collaborative and the Business Improvement District and the Civic Center Coalition, to work together so that we could grow that into a full food weekend. I'd love to bring Rachel Ray down and have her right on the middle of Glen Street, right? So that's what I look to do, but it's just my thinking.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it. All right. Street paving, we're going to jump there. Sorry,
Sure.
we're jumping topics.
Yeah.
Why was 2023 paving that much more than 2020 when you only paved 3 more streets?
Well, that's an easy one.
Let's hear it.
The streets were longer, right? Paving is done by linear foot. And so the 26 streets that cost $720,000, the ones that only cost $500,000 were just shorter streets. And those are picked by council members who tell us what they are. They'll get complaints or they'll get concerns about streets and sidewalks, and then they pull it together a list in the spring, and then we use that. A new thing this year, and I'm sorry to keep elaborating, but this year we partnered with the Adirondack Glens Falls Transit Corporation with Aaron Frankenfeld. And he did an assessment of all of our sidewalks and streets and was able to evaluate every single one, including the corners, from a 1 to 5. the report's almost done, but we'll use that in the future years to help weigh, and the council will be able to look at it and be able to see what are the most important ones. But in the past, it's been what the council asked for, the different
Got it.
council members.
Perfect.
Okay.
One more, and then we'll let you go, okay? All right, we'll let you get your hors d'oeuvres. City hiring.
She knows me.
I do.
Go ahead. What's it?
City hiring. You talked about city having some trouble finding people, hiring.
Yeah.
How many positions do you currently have open?
Geez, I think there's less than 10. We
Wow.
spent the majority of last year 25 vacant, and we were able to fill a lot of those. And I think we're actually closer to 5 openings right now, and that is amazing. It's a testament to Glens Falls, but it's also a testament to the Common Council, who's voted to increase some of the salaries to get them up where they were for other departments, right? I mean, I can't overstate the difference, the difficulties between, first of all, we've had great collaboration between the sheriffs and our Glens Falls Police Department. But it's very difficult to take a young officer who might be making, say, $40,000 and tell him that he can have the same job for $7,000 more at Warren County. The same exact job. So the difference that the council, by voting for that, has made all the difference in the world. And that everybody loves the Glens Falls Police Department, and that will ensure us great stability.
Great. Yeah, a round of applause for them. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, that was easy. She
That
let
was
me
easy.
off easy, didn't she?
Well, you're sticking around, right? So you guys can go to him after.
Look, I've been up here for quite a while now and reviewing a long list of accomplishments and an even longer list of to-dos. For the record, the first few drafts of this presentation were much longer, and those of you who know me know that's true. There's so much great work happening in the city that it's hard to limit to just a few things. These plans for 2024 and beyond reflect my vision for Hometown USA. We have a responsibility to our citizens, to our business owners, to tackle our biggest issues. And what are those? Well, for some of you, it's parking. And for others, it's sidewalk concerns. Some, it's investing your capital in a redevelopment project. For others, it's our recreation areas. And still others, it's traffic safety and our schools. And just for the record, a few of you don't like your neighbors very much, and I can't do anything about it. There are limitations to being mayor. The biggest issues are and have to be, for me, the overall community concerns, like ensuring public safety and transportation, protecting the city's finances, enabling and growing our commerce throughout the city, supporting programs that ensure safe and affordable homes, investing in upgrades to our city infrastructure, ensuring fair access to community amenities, and encouraging diversity, respect, and inclusiveness to continue to create a more modern, prosperous city. When I practiced this, I didn't practice the applause at all. You're throwing me all off. My job is to address these concerns all day, every day, for at least the next 2 years. I want to work with you to overcome as many of these obstacles as we can. I want to ensure you that all the hard work that everyone is putting in makes a lasting difference for our city. I'm inviting you to participate in the dialogue. These aren't just words. Please let us know what you think and how you'd like to be involved. I hope you believe as I do, that together we can accomplish anything. Look at what you've already accomplished, and look at what we are working on together. I believe in the good of Glens Falls. I believe in the strength of Glens Falls. I believe that Glens Falls is Hometown USA. 80 years later, that name continues to fit perfectly. I believe that whatever our accomplishments are, that we as a city are called to be better, to be more efficient and more collaborative. Let's work together to create a better future, shouldn't we? Thank you.